Thank you for being here today, and
No,
thank you for your
absolutely.
testimony. We really appreciate it. So many years ago now, when my children were small, I got to work on a project called the Family School Connection, and it was an absentee prevention project, a truancy prevention project, and it was between the Children's Trust Fund and Batanza School and Center City Churches and the Junior League of Hartford. And we found that significantly, the reason the kids were not in school was something as simple as the family didn't own an alarm clock. There was one coat for 3 kids. There was a situation where, mom was really depressed, and it was the eldest child that was always late to school because he was getting the other children ready to go to school. So I just wanted to ask, since you have experience with this, what would, besides transportation, like what are some of the other things that would have, helped you as that 12-year-old boy that didn't need to be involved with the criminal justice system,
Yeah.
that needed someone to be looking out for you and get you what you actually needed?
Yeah, correct. That's actually a great question. Being 12 years old, I speak for a lot of other of my friends who grew up. A lot of them is not even where I'm at today. So it's a whole 360 where I'm looking at this world that we live in. Father's not in the home for other reasons. Mom struggling with addiction. You're in this environment where the brain is constantly every day on survival mode. When we get out of school, we look to our left. There's drugs and needles on the floor. We look to our right. There's crime and violence. Police is raiding people's house. So at 11, 12 years old, your brain is already in fight or flight mode. So no mentors around. Everything we see is we just see drug dealers and no one has jobs. Parents that have jobs. My mom was an illiterate. She wasn't able to read, so she had no job. So we didn't see no inspiration. And then when we get in trouble, it's like it's our fault. I remember being in Hartford detention and getting in trouble, and they would give you room time where you got to stay in the room for 24 hours, 72 hours. And I remember kicking on the door, and every time you kick on the door, they increase your hours. But I remember as a kid when I was kicking on that door, I was really just saying, like, help me. Like, I'm scared. I'm away from home. I was in there for 6 months at 11 years old. I can't even. I have 4 kids. I can't even imagine them even being in there for a day. So during those environments, it feels like you're alone. And now that I'm older, I'm 39 years old, and I work with kids today, I understand their language. There's some kids that won't even express what they really believe because they feel like they're going to be judged the wrong way. So when I see that now, I say we need more mentors. We need more real support. When you really actually tell someone you're going to help them, you can't tell a person, you can't promise someone that you're going to help them when they're in the communities today dying every day. No food, hunger, their parents is struggling. There's women out there that's really, really struggling. There's in mass incarceration where when I was locked up, I kept going back in and out because there wasn't no stability. We come back home, there's nowhere to live. I've been evicted at 15 years old with my parents. We all had to go to different places. It's so much. I said this before. It's like before we get to prison, we're in prison. And I just feel that now that we're moving towards this direction, and a person like me, I'm not speaking from like, oh, I read this in a book. Like throughout my whole life to today, I remember it like a book. Like I feel the feeling, I understand, and I just think that if we can move towards creating those type of systems, stability is the #1 thing we need. I didn't get my driver's license until I was 26 years old. There's people in our community who still can't drive. So I just think that we all need to just come together and really look at how do we start from A and get to B, because A, for us in these communities where, especially in Hartford, Connecticut, where crime is at its highest, kids are killing kids, but not because they want to, it's because they're unaware of what's even consciously going on in the world. And when you're pressed on that type of violence, it manifests in those actions of fighting and crime. I remember people walking through the projects and we thinking that they're doing something wrong. Us as kids want to jump them. Jump them for what? These ain't our projects, but when you're a kid and that's all you see, you think that's right until you get older and you step away from it and you go, that's not right. So we look for people like this for help. And then when we don't get help, we go, we don't believe in that system. That don't work. And that happens for 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. So today, I'm just trying to give all my life experience and implement it in your data and your policies, and maybe we can move forward.
Your testimony is incredibly moving, and I am so grateful that you made it out so that you could be here to tell us. Because I'm sure you have plenty of stories of friends who did not make it out over the years. And, you know, they say hope is not a strategy, but if these kids cannot see any hope of alternatives to what you were witnessing, how do we expect them to be able to do anything else? So I just really appreciate you being here today, and thank you so much for telling your story. And I would also just say you should consider writing a book. Because I think it would be very well